Defeating a Divine Court stage villain disciple earns you 200 merit points. He won't last much longer. Don't be afraid. Astrid Yi felt a sense of fear when she witnessed this scene. After leaving these words, she leaped up and jumped onto her flying carriage, then disappeared into the sky without looking back. Pan Zhong also reacted, and was scared out of his wits. He quickly begged for mercy from the possessed senior. I was acting on someone else's orders. I never intended to oppose the senior. Please spare me, senior. He understood that in front of such a super expert, once targeted, it is almost impossible to escape. Only by begging for mercy can there be a glimmer of hope. After hearing that, Lu Zhou's gaze swept across the room. There were about 15 strong individuals at the Divine Court stage, while the remaining over 100 people were at the Dharma Ocean stage. He paused before speaking. This seat will give you a chance. I will allow any Dharma Ocean stage cultivator to leave. This seat will bestow upon you the 6 Yang technique, life or death, you choose for yourself. After saying that, he snapped his fingers. In an instant, an auspicious light descended from the sky. The divine beast by Zhe walked on air and slowly landed in front of Lu Zhou. Kite, take your father back to Qingyang Mountain and wait for me to return. Disciple obeys. Little Kite responded and left here in front of everyone's eyes. Pan Zhong was shocked to see this. Legendary grade mount? It is rumored that the old malevolent lord roams the world. Today, seeing him with countless precious weapons and cultivation techniques, it seems to be true. Upon thinking this through, he decisively knelt on the ground and bowed with hands clasped together. He was willing to be driven by the seniors. Lu Zhou heard this, and then lightly tapped his toes, flying into the air. The pressure all over his body immediately scattered around him. In order to resist this pressure, Divine Court stage immediately summoned its own Dharma body. The cultivator of Dharma Ocean stage fled for his life, like a dog whose home has been destroyed. The Dharma body 100 calamities abyss emerged instantly, as Lu Zhou's voice fell, a majestic and towering golden illusion as immense as a mountain. So strong. Senior, your cultivation level is so high. There's no need to deceive me. Recalling the past. Everyone laughs at me for being possessed by demons. Then I will be possessed by demons. Pan Zhong thought of this, and a sudden chill flashed in his eyes. He immediately launched an attack towards the nearest cultivator. The successive screams resounded in the mouth of the Dharma Ocean stage cultivator. The Divine Court stage expert flying at low altitude had no time to take care of their companions. They all had only one thought in their minds. An observant cultivator recognized Lu Zhou's move in the Celestial One method Tai sword technique. Heaven's favor is flawed. This is extremely similar to the scene of besieging Golden Pavilion Mountain in the past. Sensing the danger, he quickly signaled for the people around him to disperse. That is a direct chopping technique. Everyone should not gather together. But the next second, with a swing of the long sword in Lu Zhou's hand, above the sky, rolling dark clouds appeared unexpectedly. They swirled and gathered together. Sword light becomes ink. The dark clouds press down on the city, the sword demon's fate. As Lu Zhou finishes gathering power, the sound of breaking through the air keeps echoing in the sky, only to see those black sword moves falling like rain. Dense and falling. No screams or resistance. These black sword rain instantly pierced through the bodies of many cultivators. At this point, they finally recognized. This is the signature move of Primordial Return Sword Art Malevolent Lord Roderick Yu. Unfortunately, it's too late now. These black sword rain not only have extremely fast speed, but also terrifying power. Even experts at the Primordial Spirit Tribulation stage would have a hard time surviving this move, let alone them. Indeed, in the face of absolute strength, any schemes and tricks will become pale and powerless. Bing! Kill 15 Divine Court stage targets. Obtain 3,000 merit points. Lu Zhou looked into the distance after taking care of these people. Great divine technique skill glint. With a swish sound, he disappeared along with his huge Dharma body. Is it another big move? Murong Haven and Pan Zhong were shocked. At this moment, the sixth disciple Intrigue is controlling the flying chariot to travel quickly through the air. She may not understand why this old thing is even stronger than its peak period, but the flying chariot, when flying at full speed, is almost impossible for anyone to catch up with aside from the great divine technique. Upon realizing this, she also felt much more relieved. She was not being tracked by his aura from behind. It seems that this old guy is using the 100 Calamities Abyss Dharma body to deal with the others. We will meet again in the future. A smile appeared on Intrigue's lips. But at this moment, a burst of sound waves, buzzing suddenly echoed in the ears. Who is it? She turned her head in puzzlement, only to see a towering Dharma body walking side by side. Lu Zhou looked at her coldly, with contempt. 2 words escaped from his mouth, sinful disciple. Intrigue, on the other hand, widened her eyes, and stood frozen on the spot. Oh no, the old man is chasing after us. He then slowly raised his arm. The overwhelming pressure on his body suddenly burst out. In an instant, a palm that covered the sky appeared. A hint of despair filled her eyes. 100 Calamities Abyss Dharma body is 10 zhang high and 2 zhang wide. Underneath, a 9-petaled golden lotus has already bloomed. How much power does the old thing demonic Tathagata Madra still retain? Ring of Affection. Intrigue, of course, will not just sit and wait for her fate. She immediately summoned her strongest weapon to resist. Lu Zhou understands that the other party is able to reach their current position, with the biggest reliance being this celestial rank weapon. Since I can grant you weapons, then I can also take them back. The giant palm suddenly closed slowly towards the Ring of Affection. Intrigue shouted at the top of her voice. Stop! The Ring of Affection is sharp all around at 360 degrees. There are 2 rings in total. Any touch will result in being cut by the sharp blades. After piercing through the vital chi of the cultivator, its power becomes even more terrifying. It must be retrieved. Because once the Ring of Affection is lost, even if one manages to escape today, their strength will greatly diminish. Intrigue also used her own ultimate move. With a loud shout, the Azure Sea Tide Rising technique conjured a wave made of majestic vital chi out of thin air. It surged towards the fist hanging in midair. Unfortunately, you are facing an opponent who understood this cultivation technique even better than you. Upon Lu Zhou's words, his body erupted with immense towering waves. The huge waves reversed and swept away. Compared to them, Intrigue's Azure Sea Tide Rising technique seemed as insignificant as a small puddle. This old thing truly gives no hope at all. Intrigue had no choice but to protect herself with all her might. The next moment, a giant wave carried the overbearing astral wind howling in. Under the heavy blow, she spat out blood and staggered, on the verge of falling. Then she was hit, and shot across the sky like a meteor. Lu Zhou first glanced around when he saw this. He did not perceive any other villain disciples nearby. As he expected earlier, Intrigue alone should not have the guts. Since there weren't any, he did not linger any longer. He immediately used the divine technique glint to chase after her. He arrived below before the opponent even landed. Then he lifted his arm expressionlessly. The vital chi energy surged out instantly. This energy instantly entwined and bound Intrigue's body. At this moment, her eyes were filled with fear and shock. Her breathing also started to become rapid. Betraying one's teacher and destroying one's ancestor. I will take back everything I gave you. As he pointed, a powerful vital chi surged out. What are you going to do, old thing? Her face also turned extremely pale. Realizing the danger, she was about to beg for mercy. But now there is no room for negotiation. The vital chi hit precisely on the Dantian. Dantian and Chi Si shattered. Cultivation level completely lost. This also means that she has changed from the lofty Moonlight Palace master back to an ordinary person. Intrigue was completely bewildered. For a cultivator, There is nothing crueler in this world than destroying their cultivation level. Initially, she was fearless, and willingly endured hardships to join the Golden Pavilion Mountain in order to become stronger. It took countless efforts to achieve her current status and accomplishments. She enjoyed the worship of others and numerous accolades. Now, all of this has vanished along with the destruction of her Dantian and Qi. The old thing gave a bitter smile, revealing an extremely insane expression. Stubborn and unyielding. Lu Zhou instantly raised his hand and slapped her in the face. Do as you please, whether to kill or to spare. Haha, poor the third senior brother, and the fourth senior brother could have escaped unharmed. It's all your fault that caused their deaths. There will never be Golden Pavilion Mountain in this world again. Ji laughed heartily as she spoke. Lu Zhou's face showed no change upon hearing this. The peak state only lasts for 5 minutes. Even if he uses the divine technique glint, it may not be enough time. If the third and fourth elders had an accident, it means they are not in mortal danger right now. Besides, the fourth elder is not foolish. With this in mind, Ji was taken aback. The old malevolent lord didn't use to curse people like this before. The fifth senior sister mentioned that Master has become different from before. He has become unpredictable, more profound, and mysterious. As long as I am alive, no one dares to ride on the top of Golden Pavilion Mountain. Lu Zhou reached out after speaking and grabbed it, thinking the other party was going to kill him. Ji instinctively leaned back. But when she opened her eyes again, she was extremely surprised. Lu Zhou was grabbing her shoulders, and they were flying rapidly through the air. One mountain after another was passing by in front of their eyes. This is the great divine technique skill 1,000-mile chase. Why is it like this? The old guy can continuously perform the great divine technique skill without mobilizing vital chi. How does he do it? Although cultivators have a longer lifespan than ordinary people, in the last few decades, or even hundreds of years before death, their cultivation level tends to decline. Starting from body refining, the body is the key starting point for cultivators. From mystic comprehension to spirit condensation, Dharma ocean, and 8 meridians, they are all related to the body. Once the body ages, the meridians, Dantian, and Qi will lack vitality. It will be difficult for the cultivation level to advance further. But Skypath Ji is already so old. Why is he stronger than before? Why? She couldn't help but ask. I admit I made a mistake. But if you catch me, you won't be better off either. Zhou Lu frowned slightly at the words and said, Is that enough? He then unleashed the astral wind shield in front of the opponent, opening up part of it. The next second, the strong wind howled past like a knife. And after they left here, there were also some movements coming from the dense jungle below. The 8th disciple Great Flo Chu sat paralyzed on the ground, sweating profusely. A finely dressed man stood before him. He was none other than the 7th disciple Yse of Skypath Ji. The 7th senior brother, luckily you arrived just in time. Otherwise, I would have ended up as cannon fodder too. Upon hearing this, Yse shook his head. Old 8, you have always followed my advice. Why did you suddenly side with the 6th senior sister this time? Upon hearing this, Great Flo Chu replied with a tearful voice. Recently, I keep having dreams. I dream that Sherfu is beating me. I am scared. Let's not do that. Yse lightly waved the feather fan, rejecting the other party's request. Just keep your little stronghold. You must have seen Sherfu's Dharma body. The 6th senior sister will definitely betray me. Then I will be in trouble. Great Flo Chu said with a look of panic. Yse sighed helplessly. Ji thinks she can uncover the bottom line of Sherfu by relying on these strong divine court stage experts. It's simply wishful thinking. She doesn't even consider that if Sherfu really has no strength, why would he need her to intervene? The 7th senior brother killed 15 divine court stage experts with just a few moves. Do you know how many moves he used? No idea. You don't know either. Of course, your distinguished evil king title also doesn't know. Sigh, I can only intimidate others with the title of evil king. I dare not show off in front of senior brother." Listening to these words, Wyatt glanced at the other person. He regretted advising him to leave Golden Pavilion Mountain. This idiot is too much of a burden. He paused and then reminded, "From now on, you must cut off all ties with Moonlight Palace." "Why though?" Great Flo Chu was somewhat confused. Astrid Yi led the Righteous Path cultivators to surround Shifu, and suffered a crushing defeat. Not a single person from Moonlight Palace emerged. What do you think the forces behind those cultivators would think? There is also an issue with the formation there. Previously, when Shifu was chasing the sixth senior sister, I did a simple check and found that the array pattern was incorrect. If I guess correctly, it should be the Lunite senior sister who withdrew from the formation at the last minute. Upon hearing this, Great Flo Chu was extremely surprised to learn that Lunite senior sister was involved. YSC nodded and continued, stating that when Lunite senior sister left Golden Pavilion Mountain, they obtained information that she went to Moonlight Palace with the temperament of the sixth senior sister. She is bound to win over the fifth senior sister, as Lunite senior sister is the best candidate to activate the formation. Additionally, Pan Zhong from the Divine Court stage with pure Bright Dao cultivation level is a traitor who only mastered the 3-yin stance and the frigid body. The sixth junior sister controls this person as bait to lure out the youngest sister. Pure Bright Dao is unlikely to accept this situation. And what about Wang Fugui? Great Flo Chu asked in confusion. YSC gazed deeply into the sky. This is probably the brilliance of the sixth junior sister, isn't it? Wang Fugui's real name is Xin Yuan. He is a master under the current Great Flame Emperor Imperial Jade Concubine. The Imperial Jade Concubine is the younger sister of the Western Realm Imperial Consort, who was married to the Great Flame Emperor in those days. The Western Realm Imperial Consort died at the hands of the second senior brother. On a smaller scale, Master's actions may cause displeasure in the Great Flame Empire. On a larger scale, it could spark conflicts between the two countries. At that point, personal grievances are minor, but the welfare of the people in times of war is crucial. In addition, those 15 Divine Court stage cultivators are from the 3 sects in the southern part of the Great Flame Empire. Back then, the weapons below Earth grade of these 3 sects were all destroyed by Master Celestial rank weapons. They have not avenged this grudge all along. Now, they have made new enemies. How do you think the 3 sects will feel about it? Great Flo Chu looked incredulous after hearing it. The sixth senior sister actually has such a plan. Unfortunately, no matter how good the scheming and tricks are, they have no meaning in the face of absolute strength. Astrid Yi is probably not going to expect that Master can continuously use 1,000-mile chase. These scenes of the great divine technique have indeed subverted everyone's understanding. Moreover, Master's fighting style is extremely fast, hardly giving Astrid Yi any chance to set a clear plan. Great Flo Chu felt a chill running down his spine upon hearing these words. He decided to no longer serve as the bandit leader. Love whom to be whom. I want to go back to the countryside. I can't outplay you guys. Can't I just hide? Not long after, Lu Zhou arrived at Qingyang Mountain. At this moment, Little Kite happened to fly over on by Zhe. Kite took a good look at her. Lu Zhou then dropped Astrid Yi and walked to the side. The effect of his pinnacle experience card disappeared. Little Kite responded with a sound and then glared angrily at senior sister. Astrid Yi seemed to have noticed something. She chuckled. Unexpectedly, even the majestic Malevolent Lord can have a moment of embarrassment. Do you understand? Shifu is getting old. Can't he take a break? Little Kite retorted mercilessly. As she said this, she realized she was wrong. She quickly apologized to Shifu. Lu Zhou waved his hand and said it's okay. Even though Astrid Yi's cultivation level has been disabled, there was still a teasing tone in his voice. If I were you, I would immediately return to Golden Pavilion Mountain. Did you not say that as long as you are here, no one dares to ride on the head of Golden Pavilion Mountain? Hee hee, what a pity. Golden Pavilion Mountain will change hands today. Before Lu Zhou could speak, Little Kite retorted. Nonsense. What about your cultivation level? At Astrid Ye's words, a hint of loneliness flickered in her eyes. Crippling the youngest sister is the kind of thing your respected Sherfu does. He's already old. How long can he protect you? Sooner or later, he will lead you all into the abyss. Upon hearing this, Little Kite made a face at her. I don't believe you, you big traitor. I should nullify your cultivation level. The youngest sister, look at his current appearance. There is no difference from an ordinary old man. She slapped him. Astrid Ye seemed to have seen through it and started to bewitch. However, Little Kite directly snorted and refused. Master, I have already used Bai Zhe to send father back to Ci Manor. Let's go! Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou waved his hand and summoned Bai Zhe over. Upon seeing this scene, Astrid Ye was suddenly extremely astonished. This mount turned out to be legendary grade. When did that old thing change his mount to Bai Zhe? Before she could figure it out, Lu Zhou had already climbed onto the back of the mount and called for Little Kite to join him. At the same time, the Righteous Path cultivators were scattered all over the Golden Pavilion mountain. They are searching every corner here with weapons in hand. It's really strange. Where did Golden Pavilion Mountain and Malevolent Lord hide? We must find Skypath Ji and Shireen Ming today. In the demonic Sky Pavilion at the mountaintop, Elder Fang Jinshan of the Orthodox Dao Sect is sitting above. Mosheng Duan, with a slightly furrowed brow, speaks up. As long as you tell me the whereabouts of the old Malevolent Lord, I will spare your life. Trapped Mosheng Duan responded indifferently. Fang Jinshan, you, from a righteous and prestigious family, take advantage of others' weaknesses. If you have the courage, release me. Let's have a fair fight of 300 rounds. Haha, daring to talk arrogantly even when injured. Do you think you are qualified? Even the old Malevolent Lord now has to hide like a rat. Mosheng Duan made a few sarcastic remarks after hearing that. Even your brother would have to show some respect when he sees me. The words were not finished when he was interrupted by a sudden attack. In a weakened state, he had no choice but to cross his arms and forcibly withstand the attack. What kind of thing are you? A dead dog. Speak of the whereabouts of the old Malevolent Lord and Shireen Ming. Otherwise, this day next year will be your anniversary of death. Upon hearing this, Mosheng Duan remained fearless. Go ahead and try your luck. Arrogant Fang Jinshan coldly snorted and was about to step forward to take action. It happened to be a good opportunity to kill Mosheng Duan and avenge his brother. Other fellow disciples immediately restrained him when they saw the situation. This Malevolent Lord cannot be killed. Our goal is to negotiate with the demonic Sky Pavilion and the old Malevolent Lord Sect Master for a peaceful resolution. Elder Fang, please think it over. Revenge is best served after long consideration. Upon hearing this, Fang Jinshan had no choice but to give up. I wonder how long you can remain so arrogant. Since the Sect Master forbids me from killing you, then I will let you experience being imprisoned beneath the ninefold abyss. You will know the feeling of being unable to live or die. At this moment, a cultivator flew in on his sword from outside the door. Seeing this, Fang Jinshan spoke up. Elder Zhou, your return is timely. Have you found out the whereabouts of Shireen Ming? Upon hearing this, Jifeng Zhou bowed respectfully and said, Second Elder, I have ordered a full search of Golden Pavilion Mountain. However, we have found nothing. No discovery at all? We personally witnessed Shireen Ming being seriously injured. I can't believe that with his injuries, he could have escaped far. Even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, we must find him. I almost forgot. That old Malevolent Lord killed Master of Sky Sword Sect, Chanfeng Luo. He was your mentor. Jifeng Zhou had no expression. Second Elder was present when answering. They won't be able to escape even with wings. Very good. Although you are from the Sky Sword Sect, you are very obedient. You are much more sensible than them. Now I command you to personally interrogate Mosheng Duan with torture. Jifeng Zhou hesitated upon hearing this. Upon seeing this scene, Fang Jinshan's tone changed. No wonder Sky Sword Sect can't tolerate a person like you, a disgrace to your family. I wonder what the sect master sees in you to grant you the position of elder. He directly pushed Jifeng Zhou aside. He suddenly kicked Mosheng Duan. With a bang, Mosheng Duan couldn't help but step back a few steps after the impact. Can he still resist? A cold light flashed in Fang Jinshan's eyes. Then he mobilized vital qi to prepare to attack again. But just at this moment, a golden light arrived in an instant in midair. The cultivator on the ground looked over, and was suddenly overjoyed. The legendary grade mount is a master cultivator. Quickly go and inform the elder that it should be a master cultivator from the righteous path. Come to support. In the next second, the cold snort of Lu Zhou resounded around. Who gave you the courage to trespass my golden pavilion mountain? With a loud shout from Lu Zhou, a rumbling sound wave instantly spread across the entire mountain top. The cultivators of the righteous path below all stopped to watch. I guess the owner of this deep voice is an elderly man. But the vital qi contained in the sound wave doesn't seem like that of a master. Legendary grade mounts are rare to begin with. It carries such auspicious energy. Who could this cultivator be who can produce such a sound? Just as everyone pondered this, Mosheng Duan, who was trapped, was the first to recognize the voice of Master. He respectfully welcomed the return of Master. The righteous path cultivators were all shaken in heart and mind. Not good. The old malevolent lord has returned. Don't panic. We have insider information. He has been relying on the demonic essence elixir to sustain his array. All experts above divine court stage should gather. Lu Zhou glanced down as Astrid had said. Golden Pavilion Mountain had indeed been invaded by a group of ignorant cultivators. At this moment, a satisfied smile appeared on Astrid Ye's lips. Throughout the journey, enduring the pain of her shattered Qi Ocean Dantian, she had been unable to speak. Her only goal in persisting until now was to see how the old malevolent lord would respond to this scene. And this scene was indeed a dilemma for Lu Zhou. The first option was to use the last pinnacle experience card, but this was the biggest trump card. Once used, there would be no life-saving means left. The second option was to control by Zhe to escape from Golden Pavilion Mountain. After all, Mosheng Duan and Shirin Ming were villain disciples, so it wouldn't matter if they died. Should he use the pinnacle experience card or escape? He was caught in a dilemma. Release me? You have no more trump cards. Astrid Yi saw Shifu's embarrassment and spoke up. Little Kite snorted coldly after hearing this. You wish? The righteous path cultivators below have already assembled. They stared at the old man on the mount as if facing a great enemy. Lu Zhou looked towards the few people at the front. He had a look of confusion on his face. Because he found out. Jifeng Zhou's loyalty has unexpectedly increased to 15%. This is 5% higher than when he left Sky Sword Sect. Fang Jinshan, full of confidence, coldly spoke. Who do you think I am? It turns out that malevolent Lord Mosheng Duan of Golden Pavilion Mountain has already been severely injured by us. Golden Pavilion Mountain is now under our orthodox Tao sect. Come down and face your death quickly. The cultivators behind, upon hearing this, became enraged and shouted in unison. Come down and face your death quickly. Seeing this scene, Lu Zhou furrowed his brow slightly, realizing that it was truly difficult to handle. Even saving a pinnacle experience card was impossible. So be it. Henceforth, he no longer hesitated. Suddenly, a loud bang sounded. Jifeng Zhou swiftly wielded his sword, stabbing towards Fang Jinshan ahead, who at that moment was enveloped in a translucent barrier that protected his whole body. Fang Jinshan turned his head, glaring angrily at Jifeng Zhou. How do you explain this? The blow was ineffective. Jifeng Zhou also quickly distanced himself. I didn't expect you to withstand my move. He was very confident in his own strike. At this distance, not even an expert at the primordial spirit tribulation stage might be able to resist. Fang Jinshan sneered at the words. Has no one told you? It's a world of difference. Why would the Sect Master appoint someone at the Divine Court stage? Little Kite felt an itch to do something. Master really infuriated me. A group from Divine Court stage also dares to act arrogantly. Shield of Long Heart says that it is barely considered a celestial rank treasure. Fong Jinshan was stunned upon hearing this. Do you know Shield of Long Heart? What's so special about that? When my Shifu was ruling the world, you were still playing with mud. When Skypath Ji's name resounded throughout the world, nobody present dared to make a sound. Lu Zhou looked around calmly before speaking. I give you all a chance to save your lives. Repair the Golden Pavilion Mountain and labor there for 3 years. Today's matter will be wiped clean. Just as the words fell, I seem to have heard the world's funniest joke. The old malevolent lord has turned over a new leaf and stopped killing people. Lu Zhou sighed helplessly. This seat has already given you all a chance. Then just stay here. After saying that, he then leaped down from the mount. Astrid Yi wanted to witness Shifu's embarrassed escape. The next second, she widened her eyes in disbelief. At the moment of using the pinnacle card in Lu Zhou, a mighty surge of vital chi burst forth once again. 9 Leafs 100 Calamities Abyss Dharma body emerged in the blink of an eye. Like covering the sky and blocking the sun, it released an extremely powerful pressure towards Golden Pavilion Mountain. Astrid Yi stood dumbfounded on the spot. At this moment, she finally realized that her guesses had been wrong all along. Then she became so agitated that she fainted. The Righteous Path cultivator below was equally shocked. Did he go all out from the start? Mosheng Ren showed a happy expression. His excitement was evident in his words. Jifeng Zhou prostrated himself on the ground and bowed with folded hands. He shouted, "The senior predecessor's power is unparalleled in the world." Lu Zhou did not hesitate to use the experience card on the day he became a Skypath Ji. It was destined for his choice. It was destined for him to keep walking along this path. This treacherous and dangerous cultivate world, where everyone is out to get each other, only Golden Pavilion Mountain is his foundation. Not allowing others to meddle. So he must use the last pinnacle experience card. He can only use this opportunity to warn the world. Warn those who have been eyeing the Golden Pavilion Mountain. I rely on my own strength, not on any secret recipe. Only the strength that truly belongs to oneself can erupt continuously. There is no secret recipe or external force in the world that can achieve it. Lu Zhou landed and looked down at everyone. He shouted out the name of Mosheng Ren. Upon hearing this, Mosheng Ren quickly responded. The final levels of the Celestial One method, sword art and spear art, will only be used by the master once. Just watch closely. Lu Zhou finished speaking, and between his index finger and middle finger, a dazzling long sword formed. Mosheng Ren's face lit up at the words. This was the final public demonstration of the Celestial One method. Although he started learning sword art and spear art early, his aptitude was not as good as other disciples. Even though Master passed on the complete Celestial One method to him, he has been unable to grasp the essence of this final cultivation layer for many years. If he continues to fumble around blindly on his own, it is no different than walking in the dark. Using fingers as swords. Condense chi into rays. The target is Fong Jinshan from Heaven's favor is flawed. As the voice fell, Lu Zhou just made a light tap. In an instant, a sword aura formed by vital chi surged out. Fong Jinshan was greatly shocked and quickly took out his own weapon to block. With a bang, a dazzling electric light instantly filled the center of the battlefield. The surrounding Righteous Path cultivators tightly closed their eyes and could not look directly at it. It is the celestial rank treasure, Shield of Long Heart. I can't see it, just guessing. Lu Zhou did not choose to strike down his opponent in one move. He swung his arm and gathered strength once again. At this moment, Fong Jinshan, who had thought he was going to die, had a blank mind. He couldn't believe he was still alive. Using the palm as the foundation, condensing chi into a shield. 1,000 layers of overlapping waves. This is the effect of Tai art manifested in the form of a spear. It belongs to a ranged attack. Lu Zhou, after saying this, seemed to drive away thunder and control lightning. A long spear appeared in his hand. Upon seeing this scene, the expressions of the crowd immediately changed drastically. 1,000 overlapping waves. As the name suggests, it folds 1,000 streams of astral chi, appearing instantly like a spear, releasing a myriad of overlapping shadows. This is also the key ultimate move of the Celestial One method. How did you know? I don't know. Just a guess. Run quickly. It's too scary. Even the strong ones at the primordial spirit tribulation stage dare not take this blow. Realizing the danger, everyone ran for their lives as if their house had collapsed. Lu Zhou waved the long spear and pointed it towards Fang Jinshan's position. In an instant, over 1,000 spear shadows flashed and thundered down. The nearby cultivators were affected by the residual shockwaves, all crying out miserably. Jifeng Zhou also retreated dozens of meters. Only by using astral chi to protect himself could he barely withstand it. It was impossible to tell whether Fang Jinshan was alive or dead. After a moment, the dust that filled the sky gradually dispersed. Where Spear Shadow had fallen, only a deep abyss-like pit remained. Jifeng Zhou seemed a little confused upon seeing this. The intentions of the senior are clear, either to lash out or to guide the disciple. Only 3 minutes have passed since the end of the two moves. Lu Zhou remains composed. He calmly said, "Did you see clearly?" Upon hearing this, Mosheng Ren immediately knelt down with a thud, knocking his head heavily on the ground. The disciple sees clearly. Master personally demonstrating is better than 10 years of diligent cultivation. Very well. Lu Zhou responded with a light step under his feet and flew into the sky. He headed straight for the formation key of the Forbidden Formation on Golden Pavilion Mountain. Below, Little Kite looked up in confusion, not knowing what Master intended to do. At this moment, a group of cultivators from the righteous path dispersed like flying birds, with no one daring to stay behind. If they couldn't win, they would run. As long as everyone scattered, without 3 heads and 6 arms or the ability to split into multiple bodies, he couldn't catch them all. Sacrifice a few to achieve victory for the majority. This was the perfect strategy they had planned since they arrived. Lu Zhou snorted coldly, naturally aware of their thoughts. I've said that all of you must stay, so not a single one of you should think about leaving. After saying that, he immediately exerted force, pouring all the vital qi from his dantian and qi si into the formation key. Mosheng Ren stood dumbfounded at the sight, unable to believe it. Master is trying to repair the barrier. How could this be possible? The barrier of Golden Pavilion Mountain was perfected by generations of experts from the demonic sect. It not only absorbs a large amount of vital qi. At the same time, it is complemented by favorable timing and geographical advantages. The barrier is formed only by continuously replenishing energy. Initially, Master punished himself, the 4th junior brother, and the 5th junior sister to repair it together. It still took more than 3 years. Wanting to repair it by a single person's effort would take at least 10 years. Shifu is already old, shouldn't he be conserving his strength? But why would he do this? As massive energy poured into the formation key, the outer Golden Pavilion Mountain was suddenly covered with several layers of transparent barriers. Those fleeing cultivators were all blocked within the barrier. Jifeng Zhou also widened his eyes in shock. He couldn't believe it. When he led the team to destroy the barrier originally, he exerted all his strength but couldn't shake it at all. Never did he expect Skypath Ji alone could fill the barrier. It's truly terrifying. At this moment, Lu Zhou coldly stared down below. Since the Pinnacle Experience card can continuously replenish the Dantian and Qi Si, it won't take Fang Jinshan much time to solve the issue. Why not use the remaining resources to repair the barrier? They are endless and can be used without running out. I happen to have a perfect opportunity. Terrified, he fled as if he had lost his family. Lu Zhou then immediately activated the mountain protection formation. The blue barrier instantly enveloped everyone inside. Little Kite didn't leave a single one behind. After receiving Shifu's order, Little Kite responded with a sound and rushed out. She demonstrated the movement technique of the 7-star cloud steps to the extreme. The Dharma Ocean stage cultivators, who hadn't escaped far, were almost kicked by her. One after another, a constant sound of wailing echoed in the air. Master Mosheng Ren bowed respectfully with clasped hands. Lu Zhou glanced at him after listening. Surprisingly, he found that the other party's loyalty had reached 80%. His injuries should have been left over from his confrontation with Fang the ascetic of the Orthodox Tao sect. It's rare that he can hold on until now. Then Lu Zhou asked where the fourth brother was now. Upon hearing this, Mosheng Ren hurriedly responded. The fourth brother and Fang Jinshan and others engaged in a fierce battle for several rounds. They outnumbered us. The fourth brother was defeated, injured, and fled. Where is he now? I do not know either. Just as the words were spoken, Bai Zhe slowly descended. Then he placed the heavily wounded and unconscious Astrid Yi back in the courtyard. Upon hearing Mosheng Ren's words, Lu Zhou couldn't help but furrow his brow. This is not good. Third, fourth, and sixth are all injured. Only Little Kite is like a wild wolf, unleashing havoc within the barrier. Just as he was contemplating, Jifeng Zhou came forward and knelt down with a thud. I am willing to join the Golden Pavilion Mountain and serve the seniors. Lu Zhou did not refuse him after listening. He waved his arm and calmly said, Go help Little Kite. Yes, sir. Jifeng Zhou was delighted. He immediately took out his own weapon. Then he rushed towards the cultivator fleeing down the mountain. At this moment, the time for the Pinnacle Experience card has just ended. Lu Zhou's body is filled with majestic vital qi. He was very depressed after entering the secret chamber. Currently, his cultivation level is only at the spirit condensation stage. Merit point 6674. Remaining lifespan is 5,506 days. Now he needs to tidy up his thoughts and reorganize his cards. The last Pinnacle Experience card is gone. Only 7 fatal blocks are left. If encountering a powerful enemy, he can make a move tens or hundreds of times in the blink of an eye. Therefore, the significance of 7 times is not very big. What to do without the cards at the bottom? How many people are watching the first malevolent lord of the Golden Pavilion Mountain with covetous eyes? However, it's good that the barrier has been repaired. Even if a strong enemy comes again, the barrier can hold for 10 days or half a month. Using the Pinnacle card twice in a row intimidated the Righteous Path cultivators so much that even if they are stupid, they dare not invade Golden Pavilion Mountain like they did this time. More than 6,000 merit points were earned from the trip to Anyang. Merit points acquired. Next is to think about how to use them. Although it is said that continuous lottery draws can accumulate lucky value. But what if the bad luck continues all the way? Better wait. Wait until Little Kite and Jifeng Zhou clean up the remaining cultivator. Then make plans. Then Lu Zhou started to wander around the dungeon. I haven't been to the internal chamber of the demonic Sky Pavilion in a long time. Tai Sword Art, Dao Heart Mantra, and others. It seems that no disciple has cultivated them before based on memory. There are also some weapons, mostly mythic and yellow rank weapons. Experts at the Primordial Spirit Tribulation stage basically look down on this level. It's covered in dust. He can't remember where they came from or how they were used. At the same time, the heavily injured Astrid Yi slowly opened her eyes and looked at the familiar buildings around her. In her mind, the scene of being newly brought into the sect emerged clearly. Everything here still felt fresh to her, every tree, every wall, every pattern. Just then, Shireen Ming's voice came from behind. Astrid Yi turned to look in the direction of the sound. Shireen Ming was seen leaning awkwardly against a tree. Not only was he disheveled with a dirty face, but there was also a bloody wound on his chest. Junior sister is back just in time. He sat on the ground and started talking, leaving Astrid stunned for a moment. Is he still the infamous scaremonger, the fourth senior brother, or the Shirin Ming from Divine Court stage? A cultivate master who can be bullied even by flies. She smiled bleakly as she realized. You've met your match today. Shirin Ming waved his hand a few times in response. I'm just tired. Upon hearing this, Astrid began to mock. That old man abandoned you in the mountains to die. And yet, you willingly stayed behind to risk your life. Are you crazy? You don't understand. I'm different from you. I still highly respect my teachers and value righteousness. After Shirin Ming finished speaking, he closed his eyes and fell asleep with a loud snore. Then, a magical scene appeared. Countless flowers grew rapidly on the ground around him, visible to the naked eye. Seeing this scene, Astrid widened her eyes in disbelief. It turns out that all the Greenwood Hard Method senior brothers have mastered it. The Greenwood Hard Method can be cultivated to the extreme. It can bring rebirth from the brink of death and transform into a new, revitalized life. At the same time, this also means that the fourth senior brother has survived this calamity. When did the old Malevolent Lord become so generous? She looked at the area covered by Qingmu vines. Astrid stood still, puzzled. Then she followed the figure of the ninth disciple, Little Kite. Flew back into the courtyard. What about the big traitor, my master? Hearing this, Astrid waved for her to come over. You can talk to senior sister about it. What has the old guy been doing all these years? Upon hearing this, Little Kite hugged her arms and didn't even want to acknowledge her. I'm not going over there. Then, the heavily wounded Mosheng Ren also arrived here. Astrid couldn't help but smirk at his appearance. You are audacious enough to deceive your masters and destroy your ancestors. Your malicious intentions are abhorrent to both humans and gods. Yet you still dare to laugh. Mosheng Ren has a straightforward personality and doesn't hesitate to hurt the other party's feelings. Even senior brother has reached this point. You shouldn't pretend to be virtuous. Don't you know how the old guy treats everyone? Look at yourselves now. You look so miserable. The old guy's time is running out. By then, I hope you can still stand with such righteousness and determination as you do today. Shut up. Mosheng Ren couldn't help but angrily rebuke upon hearing these words. Kite Shifu is not here, so you slap her on behalf of senior brother. Little Kite listened and then walked over quickly. She closed her eyes. She slapped randomly and then ran back quickly. This slap is to remind you that this is the demonic Sky Pavilion, the place where you once apprenticed and studied. Don't dare to be disrespectful again. Don't blame senior brother for being ruthless. The sound of Mosheng Ren's words resounded like rolling waves. Astrid was shaken and her blood surged, causing her to involuntarily spit out a mouthful of blood. Her cultivation level was completely destroyed, leaving her as vulnerable as an ordinary person. After being struck, she was also stunned for a while. Little Kite wanted to help undo the shackles, but Mosheng Ren shook his head helplessly, indicating that it was unnecessary. This is forged from thousand-year-cold iron. Under the heavens, perhaps only the eldest brother's jadeite blade and the second senior brother's everlasting sword can cut it open. As soon as the words fell, Jifeng Zhou walked past here nervously and stopped. Little Kite immediately shouted upon noticing.